Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
But I do like that Donald Trump is backing out of the next debate, because it really wasn't going to be much of the debate anyway, because we've seen the majority of these debates, or if I could go as far as say almost all of them, all they do is attack Trump. Case in point, the last debate, or one of the last debates, Fox News, they put up the info screens. They had all the graphics pre-made just to attack Donald Trump. And you guys know I don't like Donald Trump. I'm not voting for Donald Trump. I'm not supporting Donald Trump. But even I could recognize, as being fair and balanced, and use their term, that they were focusing all their issue on Donald Trump, all their energy on Donald Trump to just go after the guy. They said, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And they weren't talking about his policies. They weren't talking about his healthcare policy or his foreign policy, about what he would do in Libya and Syria and all that stuff, though they had talked about that in prior debates. They were just going after him for the most nitpicky stuff. This is what you said about so-and-so, and you have little hands and blah, blah, blah. So I'm glad to see that he backed out of the debates. And now we see that they're actually canceling the debate because both Donald Trump and Kasich are not planning to attend, which would have been a very snooze fest, to be quite honest with you. You got Ted Cruz and Kasich out there debating each other. They're both smart guys, but they're not charismatic in the least bit, especially Mr. Kasich. And once again, he's a very smart guy. But they were really banking on Donald Trump to bring in the ratings as far as that was concerned. So you got your cash cow who's going to sit on the sidelines. I think he's going to APEC. Yeah, he is invited to APEC. He's going to go out there with Mrs. Clinton. But as far as I know, those are the only two presidential candidates who are going to attend. So with Trump not bringing in the ratings, Fox just decided, well, we might as well not have a debate. And I mean, it was to a point they weren't asking them many new questions in the first place. They would just keep rehashing what you've already stated, or attack this guy over here, or we're trying to find some dirt on you, so will you please respond to that? And pretty much every question related back to Donald Trump in some way anyway. Can you respond to what Donald Trump said about X, Y, and Z? And I'm not even a Trump supporter, but even I hate those kind of attacks. And now as we're talking about Donald Trump and his potential presidential victory, or nomination at least, we see a Black Lives Matter activist saying that we will incite riots everywhere if Trump wins. And this is the guy who has the moniker War Machine 3 on Twitter. He says, we are fully hell-bent on inciting riots everywhere we go, just so you know. This was his message out to, quote, white people. And this is Poe, and he's by no means a nobody. He has appeared on many articles in the Black Lives Matter movement and coined the phrase, this ain't your grandparents' civil rights movement. Now, as I always talk about Black Lives Matter, there are two sides of Black Lives Matter, at least two sides. Yes, there are guys like this who are threatening riots, and you can debate whether or not he's serious in this type of statement, but there are enough people who will take him serious, so that's why it's an issue. You got guys like this, you got the guys who go out there and, stomp on people's cars and interrupt veteran ceremonies and all that stuff. But the flip side of that I've personally witnessed when I was in Ferguson, Missouri, you have peaceful people who stand on the signs, on the sidewalk holding their signs. They have candlelight vigils, they hold hands, they sing songs, have prayers, do all that type of stuff. That stuff rarely makes the news. That's why we made a real attempt when we went out there to not just document this, but actually participate in some of these events. And by participate, I mean actually go out there with the people who are marching. We didn't report that 1,000 people marched. We went out there in the march and talked to the people. Hey, sir, what brought you out here today? Oh, man, I'm just here to explain to people that not everybody's out here burning the city down. And it's a very good example. You have I think we went out there with about 1,000 people one time on the second trip to Ferguson, or at least it was my second trip. And you had about 1,000 people walking down the street peacefully, minor traffic problems, granted you got 1,000 people, but all things considered minor traffic problems. And the only news report that I saw the next day about this from other news agencies was that one guy got hit by a rock. And I feel sorry for the guy. I believe he was a reporter. As a matter of fact, I would have hated to get hit by a rock, but one guy getting hit by a rock, I don't think is worth demonizing everybody who went out there and acted in a kind and civil manner. So we've seen riots already, and maybe they will continue. I hope they don't. But even Trump has said he thinks people may riot if he doesn't get the nomination. So you got the people who I guess are potentially pro-Trump rioting, and you got people who are anti-Trump rioting. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to turn out, but that's what people are threatening right now. Now I have a story for all you Bernie supporters out there, all you guys who support socialism. North Korea has jailed a man for 15 years for attempting to steal a propaganda poster. Now, this guy's a young college student, I believe, and he was sentenced 15 years hard labor for crimes against the state after he tearfully admitted that he tried to steal a propaganda banner from a hotel. So basically, the guy was hanging out at a hotel. He saw what he thought would be a nice souvenir. He attempts to steal this thing. He gets caught, and now he's serving 15 years hard labor. This is socialism at its finest. Let's hear what the man has to say.
Worst decision of my life. But I'm only human. Never allow yourselves to be allured. This poor and innocent scapegoat.
Now, as I always say, when I was 17, 18 years old, I'd probably be feeling the burn too. But as an adult, I can see that socialism is not the key to all the issues in the world. I understand that there's some things about it that are attractive to people. I get that. But once again, you see socialist North Korea, they'll lock you up 15 years for stealing a poster. Here in the U.S., they've got, a fine, maybe some community service. But out there, 15 years hard labor. And he was a foreigner. All right, let's look at this. Deadly landmines bring terror to millions in Myanmar. And this is formerly Burma. Basically, they have an epidemic of landmines out there in Myanmar. And they say Myanmar is one of the countries that refused to sign the 1997 Mine Ban Treaty. And it's also one of the planet's most heavily mined states, with an estimated 5 million residents currently living in areas clogged with the hidden weapons. And this is the deal about weapons like landmines, because think about a war situation. So you have the sniper, you have the machine gun nest. When the war is over, those guys leave. And also while they're there, they can assess a target, try to see if this guy coming down the road is a threat. A landmine doesn't do that. They explode when something gets close enough to it, whether it's a child, whether it's an animal, it doesn't really matter. Also, these things last for many, many years. Yes, over time, the materials inside degrade and they're not as powerful, but they can still blow off a leg, blind somebody. I've even seen the horrible stories in Afghanistan, like they tied toys to the landmines, hoping little kids would pick them up. This is how sick these things get in some parts of the world. So you definitely want to be aware of this. And unfortunately, landmines are not only still being used, they're still being produced and used in various theaters of war around the world. And as we're talking about the war economy, they say if Trump wins, expect thousands of defense jobs to move to Europe. U.S. defense industry and national security analysts are expressing concerns that a President Trump might prompt Middle Eastern and other military allies to seek arms elsewhere, which basically means we wouldn't be arming our own opposition, because you guys understand how it goes. On Monday, we give them weapons, and on Friday, we want to have a war with them. It's been repeated over and over and over. I remember, going back to things like Ronald Reagan, Charlie Wilson's War. You guys may have saw that movie. We give the Afghans the rocket launchers and all things they need to shoot down the helicopters. And many years later, we go out and fight them. Even Mrs. Clinton admitted that we're fighting the people that we gave arms to many years ago. And it continues. It's nothing exclusive to that administration. It went on before and since. Now, as we're talking about crimes against humanity and crimes against young children, we have the actress Ashley Judd. She is vowing to combat 15 million forced child marriages. And this is something that even I didn't know was still an issue in today's world. You guys know I do a lot of human trafficking research and support of rape victims and things like that. But they're saying that they have about 15 million child brides, forced marriages going on right now. And she said that child brides are voiceless. I'm giving a voice to these girls, she said, the star of the 2014 film Divergent. And they say there are currently more than 70 million girls around the world who are forced into marriages, often arranged by their fathers, and expected to bear children soon after. And like I said, I didn't even really know this was an issue until earlier today when I saw this article. So good for her. As I always say about the UN, don't agree with everything they do, but on issues like this, I'm glad that they are taking the forefront. Now, as we're talking about women and various activist things, here's a woman who was a victim of the internet, and no fault of her own. I have no issue with the actions that she took, but basically she was sexually assaulted, and she decided to post the images online to, bring awareness to the issue. She was publicly shamed, and she has trolls coming after her saying that they're going to rape her, that they're going to assault her. They're hoping that worse things happen to her. And this is just a case of the internet biting you on the butt. Once again, no fault of her own. She was just trying to bring attention to an issue and unfortunately got caught up in the net. Now, let's say you get caught up in a police net. Of course, we know there are many good officers out there. Shining examples, David Clark in Milwaukee, Sheriff Mack, Nick Finch down in Florida. But now we see a cop caught pepper spraying motorcyclists on a Texas highway. And finally, we'll end on the open road. Someone is going to die. Experts warn lawmakers over self-driving cars. We've shown you the videos of these things running into buses, running over journalists, doing all types of crazy things. If your phone freezes, if your computer freezes, it's not that big of a deal. If your car freezes, it's a very big deal. So stay tuned after this break. We'll have more reports from Leanne McAdoo and also Alex Jones, and you do not want to miss those.
I'm running for president. Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. I'm hitting the road to earn your vote, and I hope you'll join me on this journey.
Fellow Infowars, I am very excited to be able to announce to you the introduction at InfowarsLife.com of a new way to save time and money when you stock up on Infowars Life formulations like Survival Shield X2 and Super Male Vitality. Just go to InfowarsLife.com today, select your favorite product, click on Auto Ship before adding to cart, and choose how often you want us to send you another order. Every time you choose Auto Ship at InfowarsLife.com, you get 10% off and you won't have to worry about running out and having to reorder next time. And of course, you can cancel with one click anytime. As you know, I'm all about the idea of a 360 win, and the new auto ship feature at InfowarsLife.com is a sure win for everybody. A win for liberty, a win for health, and a win when it comes to big savings. Visit InfowarsLife.com today and save 10% on your next Infowars Life order by selecting auto ship at checkout. That's InfowarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.